learned to an election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down, we gon' get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in November 20th, 2020, and the Fed just got margin called. Today was a very boring day comparatively to what we've saw all week. However, after hours, again, has not disappointed. We saw a lot of action here, but this time a lot more negative, and it has to do not only with the viruses and closures. You saw California issue a curfew, but our treasurer, Mr. Mnuchin, he sent a letter to Powell giving him pretty much a 90-day notice that he wants some of the funds reappropriated or returned that were from the emergency facility. So it's not all of them. It's a little confusing, but the Fed has already even responded, I believe, back to it, and they have talked about this for a lot. This is very, very big in my opinion, so we need to talk about this, but this all happened after hours. There's a little bit more details. We're going to go over that. So tomorrow is going to be interesting, or even as we play out over these next few days. So we got a lot to talk about. I got the plays. I got the keys. What happened today wasn't too much, and even some of the other events that did happen after hour, there was even some stimulus stuff, and then plays we're looking at tomorrow for the Froggy Friday. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the-stock-market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life, and yes, if you want to just feel old and talk about MTV and My Chemical Romance and Panic at the Disco and Lil Wayne and just... yeah, we're the place to be, and the most important thing you need to do, post your watch below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. So, right off the bat, like we said, today was slow comparatively to the week. You didn't really open up too crazy. There wasn't that much news. There was more increases in deaths and all that with the virus, but it wasn't a shocking exponential increase. We talked about that on stream, but more so, you didn't see more closures and other stuff happen throughout the day. There wasn't much news, and it looked a little bit interesting because we dropped a little bit, then it went back into that melt up mode, and then right here after hours, that's when things started to change. So a lot of things were even said. The two main pieces, you even heard stuff from Biden, but it had to do with California lockdowns, and then this thing with Mnuchin is very, very important. So he said, in the unlikely event that the programs are needed again, the Fed could request approval from the Treasury with their funding from the existing funds and additional funds from Congress. So he's pretty much saying that Congress could appropriate $500 billion to other stuff, but he wants all those unused funds from the emergency lending program returned by December 31st. So that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like a margin call. Maybe I'm being a little dramatic, but this is so key and this is so important simply because the Fed has been constantly talking about this. So we have been watching the meetings. We've covered this a lot. Even Powell has said he doesn't want to put away these tools just yet. So Mnuchin's saying you could reopen them at any time. We could bring them back. But Powell said there's really no need. And almost every single member of the Fed has said that in any of these conferences. Again, you had that little report that came out the other day talking about bank solvency and kind of what would happen. And they brought up everything. And they're saying this emergency lending facility is essentially that backstop. So this is very, very weird. And this is essentially going to have an impact. Now for the Cali curfew thing, this is kind of watching the anatomy of the bad news. So even today, like we said, it was boring. There wasn't too many developments, but mainly you just didn't see it happen now in the beginning or the morning as we have been seeing. Usually the morning, you would get one piece of bad news after the other, and then it would chill out, and then it would kind of melt up a little. But now we saw this happen after hours. Then you saw the Mnuchin thing, and now that's the next thing to talk about. But watch for this weekend. Watch how we set up into this weekend. Watch for developments. I mean, honestly, if you even compare this to March, I think the difference is last time we were getting to this stage, more people were freaking out. You guys were getting text messages saying your mom's friends, dogs, cousins, brothers, uncles, aunt was working at so-and-so and that we're going to go on lockdown. And it's interesting to see how people are reacting now to it, but pretty much watch for the next steps. Again, you're seeing places they started with changing their alert level, capacities, all that. Now they're putting in place the curfew, mask orders, all of that. So it's just watching the next step. And again, like we said, watch for it to snowball. And I believe the market is really looking for something exponential. Now, Biden was speaking after hours, and he said he would not do a nationwide lockdown. So Mr. Trump has the ability to make the decisions right now, but even then, the fact that you kind of know where Biden stands on it, it gives the market some information. So honestly, it's communicated effectively, but the question is what's going to happen after these states react, and then what would it do nationwide? But then ultimately, what will be the factor that causes that? And then again, we've said that exponential rise in cases and all of that. So there was that. And then finally, even this was all after hours. All of this stuff happened within an hour or two after market. There was Schumer. He said that they're going to be sitting down and have stimulus negotiations with McConnell and the Republicans, but it already seems like a dud. So how everybody's reported on this already, they said, although he said that, there's two different objectives in mind. There's the December 11th spending bill, and then there's the stimulus bill. So people are saying that the Republicans are there to negotiate for that, as opposed to that it's a bilateral where Republicans are agreeing to sit down to do the COVID bill again. So we'll see how that develops. I'm sure that's just a nice little seed of hope in the market, and we'll see, because again, this is that game of tug of war between the vaccine and then now all of these actions like the lockdowns and anything of that nature. But now too, this is a new piece of news today with what's going on with the Fed and Mnuchin. I think that this is actually crazy. So that's the final point. We'll see how this plays out, and this might say a lot about the market, and we really want to see how the market reacts to this. Either the market is going to have a tantrum, or it'll react a little bit, and then more positive news or maybe stimulus news might save it. But December 31st could be a very, very key date to watch with this, because at least we know on that date, one of the Fed's facilities is going to change since what we've already saw, and that might start affecting bonds and TLT. So it is going to be exciting tomorrow, and how we digest will be very important, and I don't think we're going to get disappointed, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I have a few plays. We have to do the DraftKings play again. I have that credit spread. We've been talking about this. It went up a lot more. I got $4,000 in profits today. You saw what I did yesterday. If I kept that other position, I would have made an additional $3,000, but we played it more conservatively. So pretty much I need DraftKings to go up like $5 tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm going to have to roll over, which is probably what's going to happen. So that is going to be the first play. As far as everything else, I do want to play a Friday opportunity. I don't know if any of you guys know. If you are above the PDT rule now, Robinhood, I think you have to apply for it, but you can trade dailies on Robinhood now. So this is going to be interesting. They are very, very risky. Again, option trading is extremely risky. You can't lose almost financial advisor, lose all financial advisor, can show purpose only. Thank you for a wonderful day. But be very, very careful. I'm going to look for some of these, but with some of these news pieces developing, even now as I'm shooting this, market is dropping after hours. I think we're going to get a little bit interesting of a day if we could see a bunch of different pieces of news collide. I don't think it's going to be really groundbreaking, but I think it could get the market moving. And I believe tomorrow is a triple witching, but I'm going to look for some of these work from home stocks. Again, Zoom is the primary example, but I want the runners, the ones that are going to have that Friday cheap premium. So I really like that. And then Uber is another one I'm going to be looking at. This is going to be kind of just focusing on the stocks that are up. So I didn't even take any other plays today. Again, I'm going to be focusing on the DraftKings and waiting, because the market is at an interesting point. I am kind of getting back into selling the premium. I will see that if there is certain deals, but I'm really focusing on the companies that are leading right now and watching if you're getting that rotation unraveling or how it's holding, and paying attention to who is up. So that's going to be there. And then as far as even tomorrow, keep watch of how this plays out. Banks are going to be important to watch. I think JP Morgan, all those. I want to keep an eye on all the financial stocks. Again, you even saw how they kind of underperformed comparatively to today, but that will be key. But then also don't forget about kind of the canaries in the coal mine. I think airlines is going to be key. So again, you're seeing the curfews, you're seeing stuff like that. You're seeing now what that means with the Fed. Again, banks will get affected by the Fed, but think United Airlines, if this could mean the Fed returning money is going to get more people cash, or it could lead to others. Who knows what it could be. If it could mean more stimulus checks, less bankruptcies. Again, it's $500 billion that they could reappropriate. It might be a benefit to some other industry. So I'm going to watch like UAL and some of those industries that we've talked about, the canaries in the coal mine. But as far as everything else, watch Tesla. They did good today. They clipped above 500. I want to see, they got a bad report after hours that they're like actually one of the more unreliable cars. There was some level of report there. That one's going to be interesting. Snap, I really, really like how it outperformed today. And then they acquired a TikTok competitor after hours. So it's been holding up pretty good. And again, this is just what I mean. Pay attention to the companies that have been holding up and who would also benefit off of COVID. And we've got to see which ones are really the stronger work from home stocks or not. And people didn't expect that from Snapchat initially, but after its last few quarters during COVID, it has proven to hold up. So pay attention to that. Keep an eye on there. We said Uber, another one, Abivai. They've still been going up, and you've even seen this rotation. Watch for the unravel. Pay attention to which ones. Like you saw Walgreens come right back down. Other companies, even Boeing, sold right back off. So pay attention to that. But Abivai's back near that 100. I like it. I'm going to keep my eye on it for a Friday. Maybe it does go crazy. We'll see. I also like the Disney. I have plays in this, and even though they kind of unraveled a little bit, I noticed that the premiums held up on the calls. If you guys remember, I got those Aprils, but they had a little bit more time. I thought that was interesting, so I'm going to keep an eye out for them, but I think it's going to be harder to find a play that won't be momentum-based tomorrow. Some more clarity in the market would be nice. Watch them. Watch Ross. We made an earnings play on it. I grabbed some. I want to see. They ended up doing bad and guiding down, but they still went up. I did a December 130 call at 55 cents. So people watch this. If you guys even go on stream, we did this play live. And the real reason I liked it is just how it was pricing in. So the stock was at 110. Here's the quick tutorial at pricing in. I was doing this in my head. I did it with 3 or 4 different companies prior. You take the at the money prices. So take the ask or the last trade. I'll do the ask just to be conservative. $2.60 for the puts, $3 for the calls. That's $560. So that means based on the straddle price, if you short that, it means the market is pricing in $5. Otherwise, they would have charged more for this premium by expiration, which is tomorrow. So you could do that. There is also, even when you come to TD Ameritrade, you come up here to the trade box, you put the stock in, Ross, and you see it says, this one, it says 384. So mine was a little bit more conservative there, but even then you come here on with adding the IV, it says 470 right there. So pretty close, give or take a few dollars. Again, many ways to do this calculation, but it's giving you an idea. Now, $4, $5 of 110, that's about a 4 or 5% move. So it was interesting because Ross's retail, they usually do good during recessions, believe it or not. Some of these discount retailer stores, they do great, but we were looking at Foot Locker before that throughout the day, and the Foot Lockers were actually pricing in a lot more. I don't know how much they moved on their earnings. I don't know. It might be in the morning, I believe, but they were pricing in like a 20% move. Even if you look at it here, $2 here, $2 there, but this is a $41 stock, not $110. So they were pricing in like, I believe, like a 10 to 20% move or something on there. It was pretty expensive when we were looking at it, and then same thing with even Workday. So I noticed that the Ross was actually, it had some things in its advantage, and then that contract was pretty cheap considerably. We bought it at a 55% discount. The stock was down when we bought it. So I got 2 of these at 55 cents. You can see it just fell off, and comparatively, the change close was negative. But simple idea was I thought it could surprise, but comparatively to all the options, I thought this was kind of underpriced. I pretty much disagreed. I said, hey, all these other retail stocks were pricing in more. All these other tech stocks pricing in a lot, again, with earnings. So I said, they're pricing in 4 or 5%. It's not that much. I'll throw $100 on it. So did the call side. We're going to see how that plays out, but that was the only other play that we made. As far as everything else, watch the UVXY, see how this picks up. Again, the market really starts to digest this negatively. I think the UVXY will show a lot, but it has been suppressed lately. And then TLT, this is going to be the key, because surprisingly now, this has to do with what's going on with the Fed. So depending on if it keeps shooting up and this really diverges from the market, we've been talking about this, that's saying something. But again, depending on what happens December 31st, that may change the Fed's ability to handle Mr. TLT. So I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. And I need you to remember, you're not going to go to hell, baby. Everything's good. You need to develop it. The code loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.